Alright, you guys, welcome to a special video for you today. Today we're going to be talking about the top 8 and the decks in the top 8 and kind of our thoughts on the tournament overall. Some look into some card statistics here and there, and just kind of that sort of thing. Yeah. Easy as that. I have some talking points here. If you have any questions on this or you want us to dive more into it, leave a comment below. This is like the good video to start a discussion on, like, hey, why did this deck underperform? Why do you think this deck overperformed? And what decks are good moving forward? That sort of thing. So if you have any questions, let us know. But we have some talking points that we're going to go over. And first and foremost, we're going to talk about what we think of the top 8 decks. What's going to win? What's the bracket's going to look like?
Right.
So, Greedy Thomas, your pick to win it right now, go.
I think we talked about this a little bit. I think if Dusknoir Spread can somehow hold up against the super fast Arcanine, I think Dusknoir Spread has a very good shot to win the whole thing. Because I think it has really good matchups against the other 6 decks here. But I think it's a tall order for it to keep up with Arcanine.
It's like the one deck that I didn't want to face. Yes.
I think if Dusknoir Spread loses, I think Jumpluff probably has the best chance to take the whole thing, if I'm being completely honest. Because I think Weavile is pretty free for it, because all the Jumpluffs don't really have abilities and stuff. I just think Jumpluff is pretty... It trades non-EXs the best out of any of the decks here. None of the decks specifically counter it, really, besides Dusknoir Spread, I feel like. Correct. I feel like if Dusknoir Spread faces Jumpluff's just going to get annihilated, because all the skip flumes and stuff have like 60 HP, so... It's
going to take like 2 spreads and then it's over.
Yeah, you can just like literally Coco once, Fortress twice maybe, and then devolve. And
plus, the Jumpluff player is really going to want Forest out anyways. Mm-hmm. So that's just going to give it an extra benefit to Fortress, being able to reuse that over and over again.
Oh yeah. So I really think the key matchup here is Arcanine versus Dusknoir Spread. That's going to determine how a lot of the top 8 is going to go. Because I really do think Dusknoir Spread has very good matchups against the rest of these decks here.
Right. And I think I would agree with you on that line. It really does come down to this matchup here. I think Jumpluff is just going to walk to the finals.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's going to trade pretty well with Weavile. Weavile doesn't have many EXs in its own regard, so like if we are playing best 2 out of 3, mind you. So if Jumpluff gets unlucky twice, I guess it would need, because Weavile will trade with it somewhat, right? Like it's not going to be the worst thing ever. I think Jumpluff will have trouble with Weavile. It will not have trouble with Kingdra and Incineroar. I think it blows both of those up. Even being fire weak, it just doesn't matter against Incineroar.
Yeah.
So Jumpluff, I think, just walks to the finals. So the bottom half of the bracket is just super boring. Like, Kingdra's gonna smash Incineroar, right? Like.
Oh yeah. I don't know how Incineroar has a chance.
I don't either.
Because like the big draw of Incineroar is it's this big, bulky, 250 HP dude, but with the water weakness and the Kingdras, it's just.
Yeah, Kindra's just gonna laugh in its face and attack with the non-UX one, the Kingdra from Legends Awakened.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just gonna come in there and bop it, and then what does Incineroar do? Like,
I don't think does Incineroar have like a non-water weak attacker. I don't think so.
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure it's all.
It's like Canian, Victini, and then it has like the Pyro line, right?
It's got Ninetales, Pyroar. You can't really attack with Oricorio. I'm just looking at the Pokemon right now. Litten Feebas. Yeah, no, it's all weak to fire.
Yeah, that's a super bad draw for it, because I think Incineroar is actually pretty solid, but I don't think it has a chance against Kingdra at all.
So Jumpluff should just walk to the finals because of that. If Arcanine goes faster, it will smash Dusknoir. But Dusknoir is just going to need that one turn of like de-evolve, knock out half their stuff.
Yeah, that one's hard to say.
That's going to be a really good matchup. I'm really excited for this one.
I think definitely of all of the games, that one is going to be the closest and probably the one that influences the rest of the bracket the most.
Oh, for sure. Raikou Entei Stage 1, I think that just kind of goes the way of Stage 1.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, because Stage 1 can pressure without using a lot of ability setters, I think.
Yeah, and like you're playing on the weakness. Like all the lightning Pokemon are weak to fighting, and then you can just get up Vaporeon for all the water Pokemon, or for all the fire Pokemon. So it should be Stage 1's game, and Dusknoir can just smash on Stage 1. I think.
Yeah.
I think that so. Like I said, I think it comes down to Arcanine and Dusknoir spread who wins. But overall, I'd put good money on Jumpluff.
Yeah. I think the only deck that can challenge Jumpluff realistically is like Dusknoir spread, I think.
So that's what we think of the final 8. I don't know how you guys think it'll go, but if you have anything, let us know. Moving on to our next talking point here. What did we learn? What's like the number one thing that you took out of playing? What is it? 56 games of U150.
I think what we learned is a lot of games feel very, very similar. It's always kind of the same goal. Like you start out Spiritomb setups, slowly evolve and get set up. Whoever gets the first Guzma off is going to have the first strike in the prize race, and then it's really just about getting yourselves. So it's like when I look at a turn, I think, how can I get this return kill? And if I have an easy path to get this return kill, I think, okay, how I get this return kill automatically. How do I get this return kill, and how do I cripple him from getting the return kill on his next turn?
And how do I hex?
Yeah, and how do I hex her? Pretty much it's like, my turn structure is like, okay, if there's a really hard way, to like convoluted way for me to get the return kill and I have to do a bunch of weird shit, okay, I have to do that. But if there's like a pretty obvious way for me to like get a return kill here, I'm like, how can I get this return kill and then either like hex him or somehow some other way like cripple his ability to get back in the next turn?
Right, and I would agree. The double Spiritomb starts are so common. And I think one of the things that we learned outside of how a turn is structured is how decks are kind of built. I think we were on the right path, but there are certain cards that, like Iris, for instance, that we undervalued. I think cards like even Judge, we might have undervalued a little.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There might be cards that we overvalued. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe Skyla. Skyla.
The other thing I think we've kind of realized even more is the importance of the. This is something we've harped on a lot, but like, not only just the importance of like bench sitters with abilities, but like decks that can attack those in some way, like Entei Raikou, Dusknoir spread, Kingdra even, stuff that has like a
spread damage, bench damage, and snipe.
Or like Ampharos that has the ability to just shut them off completely.
Oh yeah.
So not only just getting your bench sitters, but like if your deck has a way to attack your opponent's bench sitters, I think that's a very big boon of this.
I watched there was something I saw online U150. I was doing some way deep digging on U150, like the bowels of the internet U150 digging, and I saw someone that brought up the point like, why isn't Gust of Wind straight banned, not just put on this whole like U150 that he said that there's too many Lysander effects, too many Gust effects, too many, all this other stuff, plus Thousand Machine, plus Item Fighter, and all this other thing. And I was like, that's not really the issue here. Like, the issue is that the good decks work around that. The good decks don't have to Lysander. They can spend their supporter hexing and then sniping and killing, right?
Right.
Killing stuff on the bench has never been an issue for most decks because of this whole Lysander thing. It's the decks that can kill stuff on the bench and do something else.
Right. So, and Lysander stalling is just non-existent in this format.
Oh god, no. Although I did just post a video today of you Lysander stalling my Lapras when we played Vileplume versus Retreat Amp.
Fair enough. That is a very specific case.
I know. And I put 2 Metal Energies and I was like, oh, Retreat. And you were like, no. Like, you have a high Retreat too.
I guess because we've played so many games too, how do you feel about the Elite Four structure in general? Is there any cards you would like to see added to that list, or do you think any of them can be taken off?
I think the 4 on there are deserving of being there. Like I said, energy removal and super energy removal don't impact a game that often, but they are those cards where if they weren't on the list would be bananas broken, because you could remove theoretically like 6 energies per turn by using item finder and that sort of thing. So,
Right.
I think those are all deserving on there, especially the goop, because
Oh yeah, goop would be insane if it wasn't on there. Every game would be dousing goop.
And so while you're able to do that with Versus Seeker and Hex, you can still loop it. You're still like committing your supporter for the turn, and generally you have to use your supporter to set up. So I think those 4 being on there are great. I don't know if I would necessarily add any to that, and if, gun to my head, I was forced to add one to be over there, I think it might be Hex.
I was going to say Professor Oak.
I mean, the thing about Oak is that if you do Oak, you also have to make this argument for Misty's. Like, because it's in...
Maybe Misty's goes in there too then, I'm not sure.
See, then we're getting like way too... Then it's like the Elite 6, and now the Elite 8, and like...
Yeah.
You know, I think Oak's fine. There are those turns where you just blast through your deck by going Oak, Item Finder Oak, Dazzling Machine Oak.
Yeah.
I would be okay if, like... I don't know, this is kind of weird, but you could... It's still an item, and it doesn't go to Lost World, but you can't, like, Item Finder for it.
Right.
You know? Like, that wouldn't be the worst, I feel. But that's also just, like, now you have to, like, come up with this new rule, this new clause entirely, you know?
Yeah.
And that's silly.
I guess the only other topic you can have here is, like, banning. Like, we've talked about Spiritomb a little bit in the past. My opinion has kind of changed. I don't think that needs to be banned, but I don't know, maybe you could consider Lapras maybe even, or like...
I don't think anything needs to be banned right now.
Okay.
I think if you were to... I think the 4, like Spiritomb, you can't ban Spiritomb because it ruins the format. If you ban Spiritomb, it ruins the format.
I agree with that.
Can't ban Dunsparce because, I mean, that's whatever. Can't ban Lapras because, like, then you also have to ban Jirachi, I guess. Can't ban Uxie because then you also have to ban Shaman, I guess. I think the only other one that you could consider banning is the Tapu Koko promo.
We've talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only other one because it's just stupid powerful. Like, it's a
Yes,
non-EX 110 HP basic that deals 120 damage for DC.
And has free retreat.
And it's free retreat. So, and is weak to a very uncommon U150 type. Their fighting decks are rarer, I feel. So. But
yeah, I mean, other than that, I can't think of anything else really specific that applies to everything that we've learned necessarily.
No, but we have learned a lot, and I think when we do this tournament again in sometime midway through next year, maybe March, April, May area, the decks will be built more efficiently, and we will know that a deck sucks and not have to put it into the tournament, and we'll have more ideas and that sort of thing. So
I think we, like, going forward too, me and you have a much better idea of how to judge cards for U150, like when we do set reviews and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think when we look at cards, we'll be a lot more able to tell, like, oh, this will be very good in U150, or this is just like trash in U150, you know?
Correct. Yep. So moving on, most underwhelming performance, meaning it was probably rated very, very high and either lost right away, or lost in the second round.
I think this is easily Blastoise, in my opinion.
Yes.
And then what was the deck that lost SP? Was that Gyarados?
SP beat Gyarados, too.
Yeah, that would be a close second.
But you see, remember, Gyarados, that game came down to the Power Spray play.
Yes, it did.
So, if it weren't for the Power Spray play, Gyarados would have styled.
Mm-hmm.
Gyarados would have been in the final 8. We talked about that. Like, we think because it would have smashed Incineroar, and then it goes up against Mega Manectric, which would have been like an okay matchup, but you're trading EXs for non-EXs probably.
Yeah, that would have been pretty close, I think.
So that would have been a better matchup, but
then you just have Kingdra versus Gyarados, and like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, and then Kingdra just styles on Gyarados, so Kingdra gets here anyways. So, Blastoise most underwhelming, I feel. SP deck won because of the Power Spray, and we know that Power Spray is good. Great.
Yeah,
Blastoise just got styled in an even setting where there wasn't one card to swing it or anything. It was just wow, this deck just underperformed and got bopped by a not great sleep deck.
We just completely overseeded Blastoise, I think.
I think it should have been probably maybe a 3 seed. I think it's still top half, but
I think we just didn't think about how bad most of the Blastoises are as attackers.
if we put too much emphasis on this whole washout thing that you can snipe for 100 a turn,
Yeah.
right? But
like for 4 energies, I mean, and there's stuff that does it better, so I don't know.
And getting to that point is tricky.
Yeah.
Because you need to set up 2 stage 2s, which isn't the worst in this format, but you need it.
Yeah.
And they hex you, and you're like, crap.
I guess the next one after that would be Magnezone, but that's more just due to how the brackets worked out than Magnezone underperforming.
I would agree. It didn't underperform necessarily because we knew it was a number 1 seed, and if we were to reseed everything, it still would be a number 1 seed.
Yeah. Like 2 or 3. I think it'd be 2 or 3 now.
Like a top... Wait, you mean completely, not in the top 8 decks?
Oh, no, like number 2 overall.
Oh, okay, overall, yeah. No, it's still a number 1 seed for a bracket. It is still...
Oh, okay, I thought you said the number 1 seed. Okay.
No, yeah, sorry. But no, yeah, it would drop down a bit. It wouldn't be... I think it would be top 4 decks in format still. Yeah, but you're right, definitely. Not number 1 anymore. So yeah, I that's why I don't think Magnezone necessarily can go on the underwhelmed, because it's not something that when we reseed it's going to drop drastically. That's a video for another day. And we should just,
unlike
Blastoise, which is going to drop at least 4 tiers.
Yeah.
It's not dropping 4 spots, it's dropping 4 tiers. That's over 20 spots on the rankings list,
Yeah.
Underperforming decks, what else? I think that's pretty much it. Maybe the Donk decks, because we thought the Donk decks were going to just walk to the finals here. We were going to have a Donk deck in the top 8, but no. Metagross, I think, is another one, actually, that underperformed just because of Salazzle.
I mean, that's just another matchup
That's another matchup thing, yeah. We rated our Maldolock as a tier 3.
Yeah, our Maldolock is probably over-tiered as well,
I think our Maldolock is over-tiered, for sure.
Yeah.
I think our Maldolock's probably more closer to a 6 instead of a 3, so that might be the biggest drop. Oh, Evolution's over-tiered as well. That's a tier 3.
Yeah.
That deck felt way underwhelming when I played it.
Plus Ampharos is under-tiered, so...
Oh, under-tiered, yeah, oh yeah. Although, yeah, well, that moves into our next thing, most underrated deck. So something that we needed to bump up in the tier list.
Definitely Raikou Entei.
Raikou Entei is the immediate finger point, oh yeah, we rated that, a 4? Yeah,
it was a 4 seed. It was one of the... It was one of the 2 4 seeds that made top 8. The other one being Incineroar.
And I think, and it's the lowest overall, because Incineroar is 27 overall.
Yeah.
And Raikou Entei was 29. I think we both said this before, I think it's deserving, next time we reseed this, of a number 1 seed.
Oh yeah, easily, especially once we get the build a little more solid.
Oh yeah, this is a not correct build, a very subpar build that went to is in the final 8.
We just didn't. We honestly, we didn't take it that seriously, and we didn't put that much work into the build because we didn't think it would be that good. But now that we have kind of realized the power of it, I think we should take a look and try to make this build much better.
And even when we were playing it, I remember it beating Bennett Eevees and being like, oh yeah, this deck's actually pretty good. And then it was going up as Tool Drop, and we were both just like, oh yeah, but Tool Drop's just going to shit on it.
Yeah.
Tool Drop's so good, and blah, blah, blah. And then Raikou Entei styled on Tool Drop, and then even though the score was close here, Entei Raikou did destroy Gardevoir.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely understood, but go ahead. Yeah, I'm definitely understood.
And I guess by that logic, the next one would be Incineroar, because that was the other top 4 that made.
True. I think it had a kind of an easier route, because Incineroar styled on Quabbig Vileplume, which isn't that great of a deck. Probably overseeded as well. And then since it didn't have to play Gyarados, it just crushed SP. And then this Manectric matchup where it was first one to lose or GX loses, right?
Yep. Well, and the Incineroar has the GX attack in that situation, which is what swung that matchup, if you remember.
I do remember, yeah. Incineroar just went mega big dick GX, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it's called.
Burning Slam GX for 220 damage on that Mega Manectric, and it kind of just sent that matchup into a nosedive. So, I think in terms of the top 8 decks, the ones that had the easiest route, Incineroar had probably the easiest route. Kingdra also had a crazy easy route, mind you.
Yeah, definitely.
And so did Jumpluff. Jumpluff had to beat Blaine's Last Resort in that close game, but, you know.
Speaking of Blaine's Last Resort, that would be probably third place for me on decks that underperformed.
Oh, you mean underrated?
Underrated, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, underperformed? What do you mean? I got to the final 16. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was rated a, what is that? That's a...
7th seed?
Yeah, it's a 7. We put Blaine's Last Resort as a 7.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
That's definitely just like a mid-tier, I think.
I think it's deserving of, at the very least, 3.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Tier 3, and not tier 7.
Yeah.
Because holy crap. I actually, when I commented the Blaine's Last Resort Rainbow Road game today and posted it, and I thought to myself, like, do I actually want to play this for the tournament in December?
I mean, it'd be fun.
Like, I was like, oh man, this deck's actually, like, really good. Like, I think it can go... I mean, look at that. See, it was 8-7 against Jumpluff, right? And that was the whole idea, was, like, you're in the tournament and you've already said you're playing Jumpluff, so I'm going to play something that can beat Jumpluff, right?
I mean, the thing is, Blaine's Last Resort can trade prizes with Jumpluff.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike most decks.
And it does it... I mean, I remember you hexing and me just being like, alright, Slowking. And you're like, crap.
Like I give a shit.
Yeah, like, whatever. And, like, the other thing is, like, the deck can actually take knockouts with Alone and Madicate easier than most other decks. Or against most other decks. So, like, Blaine's Last Resort doesn't have a bad Jumpluff matchup. I think if we played this as a best 2 out of 3, we have 2 more 8-7 games.
Yeah, it's good. I think they're all going to be really close.
I think both of those. This is like a really, really close matchup. So, I thought about it today. I was like, wow, I am considering playing a deck that we rated as tier 7 in the tournament for December. Crazy. So yeah, we talked about most underrated deck in the top 8, which is Raikou Entei. Most underrated deck outside of the top 8, which we said Blaine's Last Resort, and what was the other one? Outside of the top 8.
I don't think we talked about another one. Incineroar, I guess.
Well, Incineroar, yeah, that's the... Well, Incineroar's in the top 8, so... I think I don't know. Yeah, I think those are the ones. Blaine's Last Resort are probably the most underrated deck outside. Oh, and Ampharos.
Yeah, okay,
we put that as a 5 seed. I think it could go 3 or 2.
Yeah.
To be honest. So, built a little differently.
I mean, you could make an argument for, like, Lucario, because didn't we put that as an 8 seed? If you're going by strictly numbers here.
We did put it as an 8 seed. But didn't Lucario... Oh, no,
I think that's like a...
It had that really, really close game against Dustnor Spread, yeah.
I think that's like a 5 or a 6 seed.
Yes.
TBH.
Yes. I would say
even
5 or
though
6.
it didn't actually win a game, I'd still say that, but, you know.
Yeah, it gets bumped up. I think it's going to be interesting to feel like, to go through and vote what decks to keep and what decks to get rid of for next time. So, and that's a video for a different day as well. But, anyways, moving on. Most underrated decks. So now we're going to talk about go back to the top 8 and talk about the cards that are in the top 8. Decks that have or cards that are in every single deck in the top 8.
Can you pull up this graphic for me?
The graphic is on my other computer, and I was going to have you guess.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's a lot more fun. So I'll give you the numbers here. There are, in terms of Pokemon, there are only 5 Pokemon that are in every deck.
Claydol, Baltoy.
Yep. Oh, so it's reminded the decks. It's Arcanine, Dusknoir, Raikou Entei, Stage 1, Jumpluff, Weavile, Kingdra, Incineroar.
So yeah, Claydol, Baltoy.
Yep.
Is it just Uxie and Lapras, probably?
Yep, Uxie and Lapras.
And there's only one more?
There's only one more. It's fun. It's fun. Like, gotta really think. I'll give you the.
Huh.
What are some of your guesses? Because you're going along the lines of the Big Ten, right?
I don't think it's not Spiritomb or Dunsparce. I don't think
it's one of those.
Oh, is it really? I think it's Dunsparce then.
It's not.
It's Spiritomb?
It's Spiritomb for Incineroar.
Okay.
Incineroar doesn't have Dunsparce because you don't want because you want to try to play more
because you don't want
Pokemon,
fires.
but you still want the Spiritomb so that you can Mega Evolve GX Evolve with Item Lock.
Yep, gotcha.
So there's it. And then in terms of decks that are in 7, that's where you have the Tucci Porygon line and the Dunsparce. And
Gotcha.
the reason that it's only in 7 is because the deck it's missing is in Incineroar for all 5 of those. So then going into Pokemon again, you'd think that the rest of the Pokemon would just be 1s across the board. That is not true. There are, looks to be 6 Pokemon. Oh, depends. Oh, okay, because I labeled it differently. One's a 1/1 line, that's why it's weird. So there are actually, there are 6 Pokemon that are in 2 or more decks, not outside of the Big Ten and outside of Porygon Z, because that's only in 1 deck.
The unknowns, maybe?
Negative.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So there's
Tapu Koko promo?
Tapu Koko promo. Yep, it's in 3 decks. It is in
Oh, I'm not sure about the other ones.
Weavile, Raikou, Entei, and Dusknoir. And then the other ones that are in 2 decks, you have Zoroark from Breakthrough. It's
Gotcha.
in Stage 1 and Raikou Entei.
Oh, that's right.
You have Mr. Mime from Plasma Freeze, which is in Weavile and Raikou Entei. Which, by the way, now all of a sudden, actually, I'm thinking, if Raikou Entei beats Stage 1 Rush, it has Mr. Mime for Dusknoir Spread.
That's true, actually.
So that's interesting there. And then there's 2 fire decks, right, in the terms of Raikou, Entei, and Incineroar. So both Bench Teeny and Volcanion
Okay, that makes
are
sense.
also included. So those are the only 2, and then every other Pokemon's just in 1. You get the special there. So moving on to supporters. This one is actually more fun to guess what supporters are only in 1 deck, because it's crazy. There are 20 cards, 20 supporters that are in 7 or 8 decks.
Mm-hmm.
There are 17 that are in all 8, 3 that are only in 7, with one of those being a substitute. For instance, the AZ is only in 7, and then the one deck that it's not, Mr. Briney's is in, and that's Jumpluff, because Jumpluff doesn't play EXs.
Right.
Every other deck plays AZ. And then what else we got here? So just to rattle them off real quick. You have Juniper, Sycamore, Colress, Copycat, Guzma, Trump Card, Marlies, Lysander, N, Pont, Admin, Teammates, Karina, Oracle, Collector, Hexmaniac, Rosies. Those are in 8. And then AZ is in 7, but Brimey's takes that 8th spot. Wally is in 7. It's not in Raikou Entei. And then Bebe Search is in 7. It's not in Dusknoir. So those are there. And then it drops down to 5. You have Skyla and Sage's Training, which are in 5. And then 4, you have Iris. It was in half the decks, and it should probably be 8.
I wouldn't say 8. Maybe not. Maybe not like spread.
Yeah, not Dusknoir, but everything else probably. Maybe not in
Yeah.
Raikou. Maybe in Raikou Entei still. But every other
But
deck.
probably higher than 4,
Higher than
for
4.
sure.
And then Twins at 3, Blacksmith at 3. Gonna make sense. Briney's at actually 2, because Weavile plays both Briney's and AZ.
Mm-hmm.
And then Judge at 2. And then the ones that are in 1, you have Lookers, Kiawe, Psychic's Third Eye, Mallow, and Ranger. Because there's one deck that plays Mallow and Oracle.
What's Ranger in again?
Ranger is in Arcanine.
Oh, because there's one of the Arcanines that
Yeah, the one from
can't attack next turn or something, right?
Yep, the one from Evolution has that. So it has a lot of switching effects and it has Ranger. So yeah, that one's uneventful. Items is also kind of uneventful. There are 16 that are in 8, and then 3 that are in 7. Oh, sorry, 17 that are 8. So there's 20 cards that are in 7 or more. And then it drops down to 5, 4, and then there's a whole bunch that's actually not a whole bunch, but there are a fair amount that are at 1. Stuff like Legend Box, Dark Patch, Double Gust Revitalizer, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that are in 7 or more are your usual suspects. Nothing special. Computer Search, Lux Ball, Misty's Wrath, Oak, Ultra Ball, Atom Finder, Junk Arm, Level Ball, Versus Seeker Bill, Pecom, Retriever, Imposter Oak's Invention, Windstorm, Palpad, Scoop Up, Swoop, Evo Soda, Super Rod, and Escape Rope. And then 5, you have Acrobike, and then the 4s, you have Battle Compressor and Pokemon Breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Breeder, and mind you, Breeder and not Candy. What's the deck?
Breeder's better.
What's the deck that play? There's 4 Breeders and 3 Candies in the final. So do you know which deck
I don't. I knew you were gonna ask that.
Yep. Dustnor,
Okay,
because it only has one stage 2.
gotcha.
I actually think Incineroar is the same thing. I could be wrong, right? Because that maybe I don't know. One Kingdra, jump off place both. Who knows? Actually, I could have looked, but I'm not going to. The most common energy card. Any guesses? Basic energy.
Double. Oh, basic energy?
Basic energy.
Just fire, probably.
Fire, yeah. It's fire at 34, water at 16, dark at 12, but in 2 different decks. Do you know which 2?
Yeah, there's the one of in stage 1, right?
No, it's the one of Raiko Entei.
Oh no, because stage 1 plays Zorak too. Yeah, I got them mixed up. Okay.
Yeah, Raiko Entei plays the 1 dark because you play Smeargle.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you can play the 1 dark and still take advantage of the break, and then Weavile, obviously. And then everything else is only in 1 deck. Fire's in 2, water's in 1, grass is in 1 deck, so there's that. Elite Four, how many are in every single deck?
I think all these play all of them, don't they?
Yep, they all play all of them. No reason not to. Ace specs. Ace spec counts. Do you know the ace specs
They're
of
all
all these
dowsing.
decks? They're all dowsing, yep.
Actually, I'm curious. What throughout the entire 64, what decks don't have dowsing in them?
Oh, I have to open up the other thing. I thought we talked about this once upon a time. There are a few.
There are a few, but not very many.
Hold on.
I think because Life Dew's in Garbodor.
You have Scoop of Cyclone in a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Since you're curious and since we're talking about it.
And G-Scope's in one of them, right?
Yeah, G-Scope's in 2 of them, homie.
Woo, shit!
Okay, ace specs. 59 have dowsing. 2 have G-Scope. 1 has Life Dew. 1 has Scoop of Cyclone. And 1 has Computer Search.
Which one has Computer Search?
Ooh, great question for everybody at home.
Shit.
What deck do you think is the only one with Computer Search?
Is it Mew Rhyperior?
Nope.
Oh man, I have no idea.
It's a deck that can't use it.
Oh, Biofilm Lock.
Biofilm Lock, yeah, because you get it. You have to get it for the turn 1 because dowsing that deck doesn't have Item Finder or Junk Arm in it.
Correct.
So, yes, there you go. That's your one that has it. So yeah, 59 to 2 to 1 to 1 to 1. Who would have thought that the second most played ace spec in U150 would be G-Scoop?
The next tournament we do, I want to have one that has Crystal Wall in it. Or what's the other one? Crystal Edge or whatever.
Yeah, with the white Kirums.
We gotta try to make a white Kyurem or a black Kyurem deck or something.
Windstorm?
I know, it'd be terrible, but like then we could say, hey, look at this.
So most common energy, special energy, you're right, double colors was in 4. And then double rainbows in 2, burnings in 2.
Okay.
Stadiums. Are there any stadium that's in all 8?
I don't think so.
What deck do you think is missing the best stadium in format?
Broken Time Space is probably not in Raikou Entei?
You are correct. Broken Time Space is not in Raikou Entei. Then next most common after that.
Probably
4 decks.
Probably Skyfield.
Yep, Skyfield at 4, and then Scorched Earth at 2. And Full Flame in 2.
Hell yeah.
Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. Wow.
In my updated, because the reason being is because Incineroar plays it for the GX attack to crest that 240, 250 damage mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing. Oh, and then the only other thing that burns in that deck is actually Vulpix.
And then Arcanine plays it, right?
And Arcanine plays it because you play the Arcanine from Dragon's Exalted, not Dragon's Exalted, sorry, Dark Explorers, that says if you get attacked, you're burned. Like if you attack the Arcanine, you're burned. So if you play Full Flame, then all of a sudden that's a plus 40 damage.
I see.
Just right away. So Full Flame I think is an underrated card, but there's that. So yeah, that's all of them. Kind of the usual suspects. The items and the supporters really aren't that special. Pokemon really just kind of highlights, like, yeah, Coco's really good. Like, 3 of the decks played this new card. And because we have, how many decks we have spread? Dustner spread, Raikou Entei is technically spread, Weavile is spread. You could consider Kingdra even spread.
Kingdra can spread, yes.
It can spread. So you have 3 decks that are spreading, 2 decks that trade non-EXs in Stage 1 Rush and Weavile. And then Arcanine, Kingdra, and Incineroar that are just beefy attackers that look to overpower you.
Yeah.
So those like the 3 archetypes. No donk decks, no mill decks.
Well, duh.
Duh. I mean,
There's only one in the entire tournament.
There's 2 in the entire tournament.
Okay, there's only one good one in the entire tournament.
Which one?
Palkia Dialga.
Oh, okay. Yes, that one.
I mean, that's kind of not even really a mill deck, honestly.
No, but you have the option to mill if you get so far ahead of someone.
I think you're honestly not going to win by mill hardly ever with that deck. You're
No.
going to win with
But
the Kabalion.
will you agree the fact that you will win with mill with Palkia Dialga more often than literally any other deck?
Yeah, that is true.
So, it's a mill deck. Because you win 50. So, yeah, so there's your little top 8 preview, tournament recap, brought to you by the guys at Underspokane. Anything else to add there, Sir Thomas?
Go to the tournament.
Well, yeah, there's a tournament in December. I'll post the link. I think I did post the link, but there's a tournament in December in Bellingham, or near Bellingham if you're in the Washington area. Tune into the stream of these top 8 decks starting October 13th and probably concluding October 15th because we won't be doing anything October 15th.
Let's be real.
Let's be real. We won't be doing anything October.
JK, Alakazam in top 8. You heard it here first.
You can't give the secret sauce away, boy. Anyways, nobody that watches this is going to Vancouver to play. So.
What are they going to do? Counter our Alakazams?
I'll play... what counters it? Oh, I'll play Machoke.
Nothing counters it.
I'll play a 1/1 Machoke line in every deck.
Screw you. Okay.
So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Oh, I'm going this way. I gotta turn this off. This is really awkward. Sorry. Oh, shit. Okay, bye.